Hey guys, Luke the Duke here, and today we're taking a look at the LEGO Idea Book 260 from 1990. Just like last week, this is an unscripted look at one of these old LEGO catalogs. We start off in LEGO Town, and you can see some really interesting, just basic brick builds for these figures. It's cool seeing how they're not using, molded pieces, but rather basic bricks. And throughout this catalog, we see a lot of instructions for alternate models. Some of them are set specific, some of them are just made with basic pieces. It's very cool to see just the little techniques used. Some of these are minifigure scale, some of them are smaller, some of them are bigger, it just depends. The Town ones aren't as interesting to me. Town was pretty oversaturated at this point. I like seeing how some of the structures are set up. A lot of this reminds me of LEGO Paradisa. Some of the seaside builds are interesting with little restaurants and stuff. But overall, the Town section here isn't much to write home about. I don't think anyone would be specifically seeking out some of these builds. It is interesting to see these 8-wide vehicles before they were really popular. A lot of old LEGO Town was 4-wide, so seeing these larger builds is really interesting, seeing LEGO build at that more detailed scale. But yeah, there's some really cool stuff, some really cool uses of base plates and pieces. I have this base plate right here, and it's interesting seeing how it's used. But overall, it's just some basic builds, not really my favorite part of this catalog. It is cool seeing how there are more pieces in the LEGO portfolio at this point. If you saw last week's video, you'll notice that there were a lot less molds at that time, and so in this, it's interesting because there's a lot of really unique parts usages. Like the paddle for the guy in the boat is just a 1x6 plate or something. And there's a lot of that throughout this catalog. But then we get into my favorite section of the catalog, LEGO Castle. We have our first introduction of the Black Knights and the Crusaders. There's some really interesting alternate builds here that are actually taken directly from specific sets. I do not know if these alt builds appeared in other places, if they were in the instructions or whatnot, but I think it's worth taking a look if you're a Castle fan. Maybe pause the video and take a look at some of these builds, because I'm not aware if these alt builds are featured elsewhere, but if they aren't, they're really interesting. There's this Forestman's Forge build, and some other castle related builds that I'm looking into, because I might try to rebuild them myself. Now this time, as opposed to last time, we have pirates, which has now been introduced, and that's really cool, because pirates add a lot of flair to the LEGO system. You got the first theme to have non-smiley face prints, there's a lot of new accessories and stuff like that, and the pirate sets were really fun. I have some of the sets here that were rebuilt into other models, so I'm interested in trying to rebuild them myself. But yeah, overall, this is just one of the best parts. And then surprisingly, unlike the last one, there's not much representation for LEGO Space. We see M-Tron and Space Police and Blacktron and stuff like that, but there's only a few pages for it in this entire catalog, which is a lot different than the previous catalog. But yeah, that's it for today. If you want to take a look at the catalog from 1980, I had a video on that last week that I'll have linked down below. And if you'd like to download any of the images, I'll have a Google Drive with those too. Be sure to like the video if you enjoyed it, and subscribe for more. I have videos every Tuesday and Saturday. I'm Luke the Duke, and I'll see you around.